Most people don't fail because they don't care about their health. They fail because they try to change everything all at once. And when that doesn't work, they assume the problem is them. But it's not. It's a familiar story, that sudden burst of motivation when you decide, this is it, I'm going to live healthy. And what's the first thing we do? We fall into the all or nothing trap. We believe that to make a real change, we have to go to extremes. We don't just cut back on sugar, we banish every gram of it from our lives. We don't just aim to be more active, we schedule grueling 2-hour gym sessions every single day. We see the highlight reels online and think that's the only path. We buy the gear, we meal prep a week's worth of kale salads, and we set our alarm for 5 a.m. We try to become a completely different person, instantly. And for a short time, it feels incredible. You're in control, you're disciplined, you're finally doing it. It works. Until, inevitably, it doesn't. Because this kind of radical overhaul isn't sustainable. It's built on a foundation of perfection, and life is anything but perfect. One missed workout, one bad meal, and the whole structure comes crashing down. Why? Because extreme change creates extreme resistance. And in the battle between willpower and resistance, resistance almost always wins. It's not a failure of your character, it's a failure of the strategy. Let's talk about discipline, because it's a word that is so often misunderstood. We've been taught to see it as a battle, a constant struggle against our own desires. People think it means forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. It's the image of waking up at 4 a.m. against your will, or pushing through a workout when your body is screaming for rest. This vision of discipline is rooted in brute force and willpower, treating your mind and body like an enemy to be conquered. But what if that entire framework is wrong? What if this approach is precisely why our best intentions so often fail? Because real sustainable discipline is not about force. It's about alignment. It's about designing a life where the right choices feel easier, not harder. It's less about a daily battle and more about a thoughtful, one-time decision to create an environment that supports your goals. When your habits are completely disconnected from your normal life, they will always feel like a burden. Trying to squeeze a 90-minute gym session into a day packed with meetings and family commitments isn't a lack of discipline, it's a lack of integration. And anything that feels like a burden, an add-on that doesn't fit, is incredibly hard to maintain. It drains your energy, creates resentment, and eventually, you quit. Not because you're weak, but because the system was broken from the start. True discipline is building a system that works for you, not against you. Most people know what they should do. Eat better, move more, rest properly. But knowing isn't the problem. The problem is the gap between what you intend to do and what your daily life actually allows. And if that gap is too wide, consistency breaks. The goal isn't to live perfectly. The goal is to live in a way you can actually sustain. Living well doesn't require a complete overhaul. It requires adjustment, making better choices more often, creating routines that fit your life, reducing friction instead of increasing pressure. This is where change becomes realistic. And realistic change is what lasts. Intensity feels productive, but consistency is what produces results. A small habit repeated daily will always outperform a perfect plan that only lasts a week. This is where most people struggle, because consistency doesn't feel exciting, but it works. Discipline isn't punishment, it's structure. It's deciding what matters, what supports you, what needs to change, and then acting on that, regularly, not perfectly. Over time, this becomes less about effort and more about identity. So let's reframe this one last time. Living well isn't hard because it's an impossible goal reserved for a select few. It's hard because most of us have been taught to approach it the wrong way, with an all-or-nothing mindset that sets us up for failure before we even begin. We think we need superhuman willpower, but what if that's the biggest myth of all? The secret isn't found in doing everything perfectly. It's found in doing consistently. When you finally give yourself permission to stop trying to overhaul your entire life overnight, and instead, Focus on what you can genuinely sustain. That's when everything begins to change. This is how you truly build healthy habits that last. It's the ultimate beginner wellness routine because it meets you where you are right now. Forget the punishing workouts and restrictive diets. Instead, ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do today? These are the consistency tips that matter most. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's drinking one more glass of water. Or maybe it's just turning off the lights 15 minutes earlier tonight. These aren't grand gestures. They are quiet acts of self-respect that compound over time, forging a new identity. If this journey has shifted how you think about discipline, then you're not just closer than you think. You're already on the path. You've already started. The real work is simply to keep going, one sustainable step at a time.